and his teammate Logano.
Now, among the open cars, Chandler Smith is fastest. Ryan Preece, A.J. Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson are the fast five among the open drivers. I think the last race I saw here was 2010 when Bill Elliott brought a late model to the track for his son Chase to chase that $50,000 Pass Series race and won it. Ryan Blaney was in that race too. A lot of fellows who are now Cup stars did race here in one of the 2 racetrack revivals prior to last August.
Pretty cool looking car for Bubba Wallace this weekend. Got to be a bad man behind the wheel to drive a pink car. My buddy Tim Carrick back in Kansas City had the Guitars and Cadillacs car. She was pink and black, and he was a bad man.
And Bubba's one of a number of drivers actually doing double duty running the Truck Series as well this weekend.
Saw the back end of Christopher Bell hit that hole down that you were talking about in 3 and 4. That's what I like about this. I'm so glad that they left this old surface. Didn't decide to repave it. That was in the plans to repave it, and then they decided not to, and I love it. I think these drivers, it'll be a better show because of that.
So one of the preemptive things that Steve Swift has done is he has acquired an epoxy-like bonding material that they mix with sand, and in the event a small piece of the track comes up, they can reset it. I mean, it's like being in the dentist office. They'll get it reset, they'll get it bonded, they'll get that epoxy cured, all in under 10 minutes.
Yeah, he said it's about 8 minutes to cure 100%. I couldn't believe it. You can see the aggregate in it right there, and what that is sand mixed in it. As you can tell, I mean, just like sandpaper, it would be abrasive, and those Goodyear tires are like it. You don't want to get up out of that, I can promise you that. You want both left side tires right on that patch.
You know, Clint, riding with Chase Elliott here, you kind of get a sense of it. One thing that's unique about this racetrack, the 13 degrees of banking in the corners, but you see him going up the back straightaway right now. You're climbing up a hill. And then when you go through 3 and 4 and you come off 4, you're going down the front straightaway. And actually, it's 18 feet difference in elevation from the middle of 1 and 2 to the middle of 3 and 4.
So that's going to be hard for us to show you folks. That is something, even if I was watching this late model race in turn 4 or the back straightaway last year when I was watching Dale Jr., that's hard to see. From this booth right here at the 50-yard line, man, you can see him coming uphill a little bit, but it is a drastic difference between 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. And I make it easier getting into 3 and harder getting into 1. And that momentum is going to be hard to slow down.
It's not even. So look at it this way. The lowest point of the track is the center of turn 1. The highest part of the track is the center of turn 3.
Yeah.
I think the most important part is that momentum. Much like you hear us talk about it at Kansas Speedway, that tailwind down the back straightaway, those guys overdriving the corner. This downhill scenario, much like a runway, uphill or down, that'll entice you to get into that corner a little bit harder. Probably easier getting into 3 than it is 1.
We would see 250 RPM difference between the 2 straightaways, but you're absolutely right. The driver would complain about being loose getting in turn 1, using more brake, and it's because you're carrying more speed getting into turn 1 than you are turn 3.
Hey, I jogged this morning, believe it or not. You know, it's easier to jog downhill than it is uphill.
So Chris Buescher is fastest on the long runs, and that is not surprising since he was one of the drivers who did the tire test here. He has the best consecutive 15 and 20 lap marks over Hamlin and Harvick.
And I'm going to go to the experience. You just said him. Kevin Harvick ran that late model race like we talked about. I'm impressed with Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace, his teammate, and Truex right there. That's 3 of the top 5, all coming from the Gibbs camp, or Toyota.
So Kyle Larson fastest among the cars in the All-Star race. Chandler Smith fastest of those who have to try to get in through the open.